Hey everybody, Melanie here for Living in the Crazy Lane. How are you today? We haven't done a video in a while, so I figure I would come on here and do a video and play with my husband's new toy, which is a GoPro. This is pretty sweet. And something I'm going to bring up is a TV show that a lot of people have been getting into. And Steve and I, every Tuesday morning, we're watching it. We Hulu it so that it doesn't interfere with what we're doing at nighttime. So the show is called The Good Doctor. First, the show's excellent. But a few points I want to highlight. First thing is the character Sean Murphy has autism. But he also has savant syndrome. What that means is he has a genius level intellect in key areas. For him, it's in the field of medicine and anatomy to work with surgery. So he has a genius level skill. Rain Man, again, savant syndrome. He had a genius level skill with math and numbers. Other characters you see who are characterized as on the spectrum, and you see like I think in the show Numbers, Charlie was really skilled with numbers, obviously, yet he could not play the game Scrabble. With that said, I'm getting used to this camera, by the way. With this said, key characters who are on the spectrum, when they're brought into media, like the TV shows, different TV shows, they almost will always make these people geniuses. When truth is, autism is not the genius disorder. It is a neurological spectrum disorder. That's all it is. A lot of writers to different TV shows add in savant syndrome, which gives a very strong misconception that autism is savant, is anybody who has autism is automatically a savant, where some kids who have autism, they just happen to have autism. Next, something I was, while watching The Good Doctor, Sean Murphy, they say, is high-functioning autistic. I don't think so. Because there are key traits that his character has that leans him more towards classic autism. When I say high-functioning autism, that means they have a roadblock, but it's not like classic autism. High-functioning is, you see a lot of kids who are higher functioning have an easier time being mainstreamed with para assistance, but they don't need to go into a special ed room so much. But they still have autism. Then you see a classic autistic child. That is kids like Matthew and Aiden, who have a lot more going on. They have a significant speech delay. They have sensory issues. They have, some of them have physical issues, occupational therapy issues. I think you're getting a general idea here. Okay. Now, Sean Murphy's character, I have noticed that he melts down. He can't find a screwdriver. He has a meltdown to where he will not rest till he finds that screwdriver, which, in all honesty, that is a very common trait. They're fixated on one thing only, is to find that one missing piece or what they're looking for. Matthew, he's fixated on the video game Skylanders lately. He lost one of the traps to Trap Team, the fire trap. We tore apart our house searching for the damn thing. We couldn't find it. Thank God Amazon Prime exists, because I had to order one of those. He would not stop until he found it. Aiden gets very focused on looking for stuff like, example, we went to a wedding on Saturday. My cousin got married. My mother-in-law watched Matthew and Aiden, and we of course brought some toys. Well, Aiden brought some fast food toys so we could do fast food toy reviews. Well, he left behind one of those toys. For over 3 days, he had a panic attack about losing that one toy. So, I think you're getting the gist. You get fixated on this. Another thing, and this is something I want to touch on with The Good Doctor, because they're giving an accurate portrayal of the hurdles autistic people go through. Like a robber saying, "Put your hands where I can see them," then telling Sean Murphy to give him his wallet and cell phone. Sean Murphy's like, "You want my hands up, but you also want this? I don't understand." It's showing where there is an obvious displacement. Next, another thing, and honestly, it has to go with his mentor, Aaron Glassman's character, the character of Dr. Aaron Glassman. Sean had a meltdown on the season finale. If you are watching this and you have not seen The Good Doctor season finale, stop right here. If you have, let's continue. Okay, so Sean has a meltdown because he doesn't want to see a psychiatrist. And Aaron Glassman is kind of forcing him to go see the psychiatrist. Now, I'm going to explain something here. Who's in the right, who's in the wrong? Believe it or not, Sean's more in the right than his mentor. I will explain why. Sean is trying to prove he can take care of himself. He can take care of himself. 2, he's trying to prove himself to his peers that he can be a surgeon. He's trying to prove himself, and his mentor wants him to prove himself, yet, he's also treating him as though he is the word fragile. Something about people in general is we don't like being treated like we're fragile beings. But an autistic person who, let's say, has strived very hard to live try to live as normal and productive life as they can, and they have gone up the steps gradually, and has all of a sudden this is coming up. You may need an aid to help you live a more happier life. Sean kept saying, what's the word he kept saying? No, I do not want that. Why does he not want that? It's because there's a stigma in this country for those who have disorders like intellectual disabilities like autism and other intellectual disabilities, that they are constantly going to need help and aids, and they will probably never be able to live independently on their own. Okay. Sean's character is trying to say, I can live independently on my own. And Aaron Glassman's character is not listening. He shut down listening to Sean, and that's where we have all of a sudden this thinking, okay, Sean can tell you anything you want to know about medical, about your body, about what's wrong with you, but he can't tell you how he's feeling. Okay. Where Sean has verbally said repeatedly, I do not want to see a psychiatrist. I do not want an aide to help me live my life. I do not want this. He said it in many different ways, and the meltdown that happened at the end of the finale was honestly Sean saying, I do not want this. Don't force me. Don't force me. And that is the thing I want to touch on. Something I am very adamant with my kids is I do not force them to do anything they don't want to do. However, I do want them to experience things. If my children, I felt they needed to see a psychiatrist, I would talk to them about it before they would go. Let it know that it's ultimately their choice. It's ultimately the person's choice. You cannot force a person to do your will. It doesn't matter if you're autistic or not. You cannot force a person to do your will if they have vehemently said, I do not want this. Think about that for a minute. Sean said, I do not want this.
Okay.
So, sorry about that. I got interrupted by someone. It's okay. Now, with all this said, think about it this way. If you're going to advocate for an autistic person to lead a normal life, don't stand in their way from them leading that normal life. You don't fully know what their needs are. You don't know what their desires are. They could be complex as hell, or they can be the simplest. And as much as we were all broken up with the altercation at the end of the finale, you could kind of see it happening too. Glassman was overstepping boundaries. Steve, why don't you get on this?
Yeah.
Because we were talking about it all morning.
Okay.
Okay. But wouldn't you agree with me that Dr. Glassman was overstepping boundaries?
Yeah, I would have to agree with that also, just in the sense that he kind of triggered a meltdown in that last scene, you know, and
I think
you can't force an autistic person out of that situation. You just have to work with them, and it seems like he is trying to force them.
he was trying to work
Yeah.
more he was thinking more of his own issues and his own wants than Sean's.
Yes.
And the thing is as much as we all have our own dreams for our own children, they have their own dreams and desires.
Yeah, and one thing where he made a mistake, I felt, was he was almost like forcing Sean to make a choice, and that's just something you don't do to an autistic person, whether it's a child or an adult for that matter.
You gotta get them comfortable with their choices.
Yes.
Sean, how many times did Sean express he did not want?
Or at least,
I think the
I'm
entire...
gonna say roughly at least 5 to 10 times in that one scene.
Yeah, but throughout the entire episode, when you're literally... He was literally changing his routine so he would not have to deal with it.
Yeah.
That should have screamed out he didn't want this.
Exactly.
Don't force.
Yeah.
And how do I put this? Our kids, they will flat out tell us when they don't want something.
Yep, they'll let us know. They'll say no over and over again.
Sometimes you have to do it for their own good, like, give me something, brushing your teeth.
Yeah.
That's a need. Sorry, that's not negotiable.
Yeah.
But our kids are under the age of 12.
Yeah.
I'm using that because Matthew's going to be 11. Sean is in his 20s. He's already lived on his own. Yes, he's probably had people in his community look out for him. But first, I'm going to say this. His neighbor, it wouldn't be, unless she was really an airhead, it doesn't take much common sense to say, he's autistic.
Yep.
He may be a brilliant surgeon, but he's autistic, honey. He's not going to have the same reactions to things that you do.
And we are going to conclude this because we got to get going.
Yeah.
Yep.
But I wanted to just touch on everything on that one. And we were also testing out our new camera. So, everybody, have a great day.
We'll see you later.
See you later. Bye.